Welcome back. Today we've got episode 4 of our Metric Fasteners Comparisons vlog series here at Eurolink. And today we're going to be discussing structural bolts. All right. So have you ever searched for hardened steel such as class like 10.9 or 12.9 and you're wanting it with hot dip galvanized plating? Then we've got what you need. All right, in the form of structural bolts, most commonly recognized as DIN 6914, and then their nut and washer counterparts, DIN 6915 and DIN 6916. Those come in 10.9 steel, and they are hot dip galvanized. Now, other than structural bolts, I'm willing to bet that you've had some difficulties finding bolts in 10.9 and 12.9 steel that are hot dip galvanized, and there's a couple good reasons for that. The first big reason is hydrogen embrittlement. That during the hardening and tempering process, in order to take the bolt and turn it into that class 10.9, 12.9 steel, it has to be heat tempered or heat treated. And because of that, it increases the porosity of the steel, which allows for hydrogen to diffuse into the steel, and causing hydrogen embrittlement, right? And that can cause a loss of ductility, which can cause application failure, right? In other words, it would be like you poking holes into a bag, that you take to the beach or something, like small holes or something, and you put it down on the ground, and then sand gets into your bag, right? That'd be the sand like diffusing into your bag. Well, the hydrogen is diffusing into the steel, and then so that's the hydrogen embrittlement, right? Another major reason is probably because of the thickness of the threads. That if something's going to be hot dip galvanized, it has to be manufactured in such a way that the threads are a little bit less thick or a little bit thinner, so that way when it's plated with the hot dip galvanization, that's a thick plating, and so that way it would go back to to the standard thread thickness. Otherwise, if you take a normal bolt and you hot dip galvanize it through secondary processing, that thickness could be too thick for whatever application it was supposed to be for, or for whatever nuts that it could be used with. And that actually is what brings me to my next topic about these guys, these structural bolts, is that when they're created, the bolt and the nut is actually created together, and that's why they actually share the same EN number. We'll get to that in a second. And there's actually a sad reason for that. Unfortunately, I cannot fully validate this story, but as the tale goes, there was a company that had bought the structural bolt, and it came from one manufacturer, and they bought the nut, and it came from another manufacturer. They were both hot dip galvanized. Because of slight differences in the manufacturing process, the nut did not quite fit the bolt in the way that it's supposed to, and so over time it gave out on its application, and that actually ended up causing the death of a person. So ever since then, there have been policies put in place to prevent that, and one of those policies was to have both the DIN 6914 and 6915 for them to have the same EN number. EN 14399-4, whereas the washer is EN 14399-6, right? And that's because obviously the washer doesn't need to fit threads or anything, so it can be manufactured separately, but the bolt and the nut, they have to be manufactured simultaneously. Now these DIN numbers also have ISO number equivalents. That DIN 6914 can be referred to as ISO 7412. DIN 6915 can be referred to as ISO 7414, and DIN 6916 can be referred to as ISO 7416. And so you might be asking, all right, well, how do I compare that against like a DIN 931, for example? Because structural bolts are partial thread, kind of like the DIN 9, like the DIN 931 hex heads. And there are some minor differences between those that just generally, in a couple of different the dimensions, the structural bolts are going to be a bit thicker, right? So generally the DIN 6914 structural bolts are about 2 to 4 millimeters larger in the width across the flats than DIN 931. Sometimes the head height is the same for both, actually, at certain diameters, but at other diameters the head height is a little bit larger on the structural bolts, by maybe just 1 or 2 millimeters, something like that. And then also the structural bolts actually have a shorter thread length than the DIN 931. The DIN 931s have a larger portion of the bolt being threaded than the DIN 6914 structural bolts. So if you're looking for hardened steel with hot dip galvanized plating, then DIN 6914 structural bolts are going to be perfect for you. That's probably going to be your best fit. So if you can engineer to use that, that would probably be best, or if your customer can use that. Otherwise, finding 10.9 steel with hot dip galvanization is very difficult. Now, and we have great suppliers for the structural bolts at a large variety of diameters and lengths, so keep us in mind if that's what you're looking for. As always, feel free to contact me personally at london@eurolinkfss.com with any questions or, of course, requests for quotes. Also, my shout out for this week is the National Breast Cancer Foundation. In honor of a Eurolink employee whose wife survived a battle with breast cancer this past year, we are donating a portion of all sales for the month of October to the NBCF, the National Breast Cancer Foundation. A link for donations to the NBCF can be found on our website and in the footers of all of our Eurolink emails. And we are giving away a free breast cancer awareness t-shirt, one of these guys right here, Women of Steel t-shirts, and it's got a nice quote right here on the back, to anybody who donates at least $25 or more on our NBCF page. Okay, and so that also explains why, on our website, and you might have noticed on our footer and a lot of our logos right now, that we've gone pink for the month of October. So like I said, if you got any questions or you got any requests for quotes, feel free to email me or give us a call. Thank you and have a great day.